What's up, Inkie peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and today we are doing a bit of an epic printables process video. As I said in the reveal video for the January 2019 printables, I did a little Insta story poll and asked if you would like to see a scrapbook layout or an art journal page. 65% said scrapbook layout, 35% said art journal page. So I decided to do a layout, a project life page, and 2 art journal pages because I was really excited to use the stuff this month, and these are the first scrappy pages that I've made for a few weeks while I had a break over Christmas, and I just felt like making all the things. So hope you enjoy this video. I'm starting off with this layout, and I decided to use the art print that I printed onto A3 paper. And I'm going to use it like a pattern paper, and the quote wasn't really appropriate. Well, not appropriate, but it didn't really match my photo, and so I decided to just cover it up with some scraps. I'm just using some white tissue paper that had come in a package of some sort, as well as some of my scrap papers. I really want to try and make a dent in my scrap paper box because boy oh boy, it's overflowing. What's the past tense of overflowed? Not overflown. I did have all of my scraps in a pizza box sized box. However, I seem to have accumulated a lot more in December, and here's the box here, but I actually have another box that's completely filled. I have cheated a little bit though, and some of the papers in here aren't actually scraps. They're just full 12 by 12 papers that I haven't put away yet. So there's a bit of both in there, but I really want to make a dent in using my papers this year, and unless it's a paper that I'm never ever going to see again and I just love it so much, I'm going to try and use the whole thing up and keep going until there's no scraps left, hopefully. Join me in this challenge to bust our scraps out of their boxes and actually onto some projects. So I went through and I had a lot of papers left over from various Citrus Twist PL kits from the last few months, and they're a 6x8 size, which is really handy for scrapbooking, I find, especially scrapbooking in a smaller format like 9x12 or 8.5x11, because you don't need as much paper because you're working with a smaller, canvas size. So I grabbed this one because this paper, I'm going to be honest with you, it was one that was going to go to the D-stash because it's just very rainbow, and we've been talking about how I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, and I'm glad that I did keep it for a little bit longer. So little peak of rainbow stripe in the background there. And then this one I've been holding on to it for a little while because the polka dot is so bold. It's just, I think it reminds me of cow print a little bit, just because of the big spots with the little spots, and I don't know, it's just not my usual polka dot that I'm used to. So once again, out of the comfort zone, giving it a go. I felt like I needed something dark to kind of be a bit of a juxtaposition against all of the bright rainbow colors, and so just by having that little slither of black just poking out, I think really helps just these paper layers not become just an explosion of multicolor, which I was heading towards if I continued. Then I've got some yellow, and I'm really loving having a torn edge at the bottom of my paper layers at the moment. I don't know, it just feels like at the bottom it suits it more than at the top, just with the pages I've been putting together. Because my eye, I think, runs from the top to the bottom, that's why I like to have the tears at the bottom. So then I'm sticking this one on before I get very much further, because I need to make sure that I stick it in a spot that covers up all of that dark writing. And I really love the way this layout turned out in the end. I was a little bit unsure just because I didn't know. I really had no direction with this, except that I cut my 9x12 piece of paper, and I saw the A3 sized art print, and I was going to stick this up on my wall, but I accidentally printed 2 copies of the art print in A4 size this month, and so one of them has already gone on the wall, so I didn't need 2 of them. So I decided I'd chippy chop this one up and use it as a mixed media background without any of the effort and drying time. You know what I'm like. I do love a nice shortcut to help not only create less mess, but just, I hate waiting time. That just goes with everything in life. This is a tangent, but I'm just sticking things together now. I was shopping at Coles, which is one of our main supermarket chains over here in Australia, and there were 2 people in front of me in the checkout line. There was only 3 out of maybe 20 checkouts open. Self-serve was open, but I had a trolley full of things. And it took me half an hour just to get through the checkout. And I really hate waiting. It's not fun. We spend so much of our time waiting. Let me know if you have a pastime that you like to do to help you with waiting. I was tempted to. I actually pulled out my phone and was answering some Instagram comments and things and emails while I was just standing there because it was just taking so long. And that's my rant for this video. We've got a long video today. We're going to do the Project Life page that we do next. It's kind of a double page layout, I guess, in a sneaky kind of way, because even though they're both not layouts, they are opposite each other in my album. So here I'm using one of the journaling cards for this month, and like I did with I had the rainbow around the outside of that large photo, that little stripe pattern that we used before, and that's kind of a paler multicolour. It's not really saturated, and I added this little bit of the star piece from one of the printable sheets down the bottom there, and the colours were so much brighter than that of the paper around the rainbow paper, around the large photo, that I felt like I needed another really bright pattern. So that's why I chose that journaling card to go around the smaller photo. I really like I don't think I've done, I would have in the past, but not recently. I don't think I've paired a 4x6 photo with just a single small square photo, and I really, really like the look of that. So something that I might do again very soon. I stuck down that big heart, and at this time, I was going to write a title in there with white gel pen, but then I wanted to use up some of my stickers, so you'll see me find those in a moment. I'm also trying to use up some sticker sheets because boy oh boy do those things accumulate way quicker than we realize. And it's not until just before I actually filmed this video I had cleaned up my craft room because it was in bad need of a clean up, and I found all of these sneaky sticker sheets that I'd forgotten about, and so I'm on a bit of a mission to use them up. And my trick for using them up, like you'll see with this strip of stars, a bit of a sneaky tip is if you can cut your sticker sheets down slightly, so even just cutting, the big 6x12 sticker sheets, double-sided ones that American Craft often put out with their collections, like with crepe paper or Amy Tan or any of those lovely ladies. The tip that I have for using those quickly is to actually cut them down into smaller sections. So those star little enamel dots, I guess they're called enamel dots, were on a larger sheet, and they had all different, I think they were Chamel maybe, and they had all different types of patterns, like there was butterflies and hearts and circles and flowers, I think. And so I just cut them into smaller strips, and it really did make it a lot more, I don't know, I just felt like I could achieve finishing the sticker packet a lot more. I haven't done it with this one because there's not too many left, but I tend to cut these larger 6x12 ones into half, so 2 separate 6x12 sheets, and then quite a lot of the time I will also then cut them in half if possible, so the whole sheet will be in quarters. And I find that it kind of prompts me to use it up, because if there's only 2 stickers left on a smaller sticker sheet, I'll be more likely to go, oh well, I'll just use this, rather than continue to search for something that would work better. So that's a bit of a tip. Another tip is to leave it on your desk. You'll see those little enamel dot stars come in and out of all, not the art journal pages, but the Project Life page definitely. And I managed to use up the whole strip. And look, it was only a small achievement, but my golly gosh, it feels so good to finish a sticker sheet. Does anyone else feel that same thing? Or the elusive finishing a roll of washi tape? Now that deserves an award. It really does, because yeah, that's a rare occasion there. Back on track with the layout, I added some journaling down the bottom there. Also added some stars, and you can see I will in a moment go for a bit of my favorite, my triangle formation. So I've got kind of this cluster in the bottom left hand corner that has my journaling and those 2 larger aqua and blue stars, and then you jump over to the right to the big title and a few little stars there, and then up here to this top left hand corner that I'm working on now with a couple of stars and hearts. I just think that the triangle it's kind of a fail-safe format. If you're ever stuck, go for the triangle, go for 3s. They seem to be really pleasing on the eye. So here's the layout done. So this is part 1 of this epic 4-part process video today. I really love the way that it turned out. I could have gone crazy and added some splatters, but I promise you I'm not ill, but I kind of didn't feel like adding gold to this one. I know, calm down. I didn't feel like it needed gold glitter hearts, and I didn't feel like it needed Hearty Shine. I know we need to call a doctor. Maybe I am sick. But I just think with all of the colours that were happening, I didn't really feel like adding gold, and I think that's okay to sometimes not have it, but I'll make up for it in the art journal page, don't you worry. So next up, Australian peeps. I saw on, I think it might have been an Aussie planner group that I'm in on Facebook. I saw someone post about these washi tapes at Kmart, and they were only $5 for that whole roll. I think, there's at least 8, maybe there's 10 rolls in there. Now, I will admit, they're not the stickiest or best quality washi tapes, but they seem to stick down. The gold glitter is not sticky at all. And I think I do go back later after I filmed this video and added a bit of glue to it. But if you're looking to broaden your washi tape stash, not that, you can never have too much washi, I say. Kmart have got some 3 or 4, maybe there's 4 different rolls, and they're really, really pretty. So next up, I have been loving this lady over on Instagram. Her name is Morgan Harper Nichols. You can see her name just at the bottom of that quote there, and her Instagram is just her name, Morgan Harper Nichols. And she is a beautiful writer who writes these little quotes and little paragraphs about different topics, and I've been using a lot of them in my art journaling lately. I feel like she just has a really poetic way of speaking and just articulating different ideas. A lot of things I've been saving lately have been, about stress and about creative workflow and just taking time to stop and pause over the busyness of Christmas. And so I thought this was a nice little quote. I'd saved a screenshot for this in this week of Project Life, and so usually I only save quotes that usually were applying to me that week. And so I paired this with a little picture of sleeping Archie, because I think at this point these photos were from November, or no, they're from early December. I think Archie was going through a bit of a mood this week from memory. I think so. Then I decided I'm trying to use up some label stickers as well. And so you'll see that little purpley tag label is from a Chamel sticker book that a lovely subscriber sent me, and I cut the labels separately, and so I try to use them all on this PL page. I don't succeed in using them all, but I think I've only got maybe 3 left on there, so that's fun that I only have a couple left. So this little photo is of Archie and Wolfie, who seems to be the chosen stuffed toy at the moment. However, he does really like this little car, and he takes it to bed all of the time. And last night we actually went in and the car was on his tummy. He'd obviously been hugging it, and then his arms had rolled off his body, and there was just this little car sitting on his chest. It's not really the most snuggly of toys, so we try to avoid him taking it to bed, but sometimes he stashes it in there and sneaks it in. So there's another photo. This is a very Archie heavy week, this one. I think this was just after we returned from our Melbourne holiday, and we kind of were exhausted from being away for a week, and Aaron's birthday had been the week before that, and it was just... we were pretty tired, so Archie and I had a lot of days just staying at home and playing together. This just warmed my heart. So I've had this little rubber embellishment, which I love, but I have trouble sometimes with some phrases that are on tiny word stickers and tiny word things. And this one was create, and every time I go to scrapbook a photo of scrapbooking or my art supplies or some photo that I've taken, it's always really pinkish, and I've never been able to make this create work. I've tried to use it a couple of times. Not that I don't like pink and red together, but it hasn't been the right shade, or it hasn't been bright enough, or it's been too bright. And so here, this little photo is of Archie with his drawing, or as he calls it, boring. He means drawing, but it sounds like boring. I can't really say his D sound very well. And he set up in front of the TV and asked for animals on TV. So I put on a little David Attenborough, and we watched a bit of an animal documentary, and he was just scribbling away in his little journal, and it was just a perfect afternoon. So then I didn't want the other half of the art print that I printed to go to waste, and so I'm just cutting that roughly down to 4x6 size. If it's a bit wonky, it's a bit wonky. Here I am and ah for ages, because I had 2 photos originally that I was just going to stick next to each other on just a random piece of cardstock, but then I really liked the pattern peeking on the right hand side of this card, and so in the end, I do get rid of one of the photos just for this page. I'll slip it in either the next week or somewhere else during this week that I'm scrapping at the moment. I'm sure I'll be able to slip it in somewhere. And I decided to just go with the one of them. And I thought I'd go with this one because you can see a little bit of those books peeking out on the right-hand side of the paper from the stamp that I used. And this card is just all about how Archie's a bit of a bookworm. I think it's a combination of he loves looking at like objects and pointing out what the names of things that he knows, like dogs and cats and apples and fish and house and those types of things. But I think he also just enjoys flicking the pages really, really quickly. And so whenever we get in the car, not every time, but a lot of the time he goes, book please, book please. So I grab one of his books and hand them to him. So I wanted to snap a photo of that. So then here I'm really trying to use up some alphas as well. This really is my year of I started it actually last year, and I think I did a pretty good job working on some stash busting last year. But I really want to continue it and try not to buy too much, except for maybe the monthly kit subscription. And then, let's be real, after Creativation, I'll probably buy some things when they come out. But I'm trying to use up some alphas because when you get past that point that's easy to spell things, you can still spell words, but it's maybe you have to think about it a little bit harder, or use synonyms for words that you don't have letters for, or maybe manipulate some of the letters so that you can actually have the right letters to spell the word. I get really frustrated, and I'm very guilty of abandoning sets of alphabets that I'm having trouble with. So really trying to do that this year and use them up. I'm also using a couple of the little tiny word strips from the December printables, just because they were sitting on my desk and I didn't have any tiny word strips with this month's collection, so I thought I would use those ones. And then adding a bit of journaling with my Pilot G2. I'm really excited to dive back into scrapbooking again. I would probably say 3 weeks where I haven't made anything. I haven't filmed anything. I haven't made anything. And I've missed it. However, it was a nice break, but at the same time, my craft room looked like a bomb had hit it, and I didn't want to clean it up. And I knew that, I know this sounds bad, but I knew in order to create again, I had to clean up my craft room. And so I was just procrastinating and putting it off. And it got to the point where I had to just dive in and do it. And so now it's clean for now, touch wood. And I am going to film a craft room tour that'll go up on YouTube I'd probably say maybe end of Feb or March. I have actually pre-scheduled and edited and uploaded all of the YouTube videos for January, February and March for YouTube, but I might be able to shuffle some things around and have that up. Oh, this is our fish. Now, Leo is still kicking it. He has surprised us. And I think I've talked before about, I feel like Leo is indestructible and might be a bit of a mutant for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, there are so many times that he shouldn't have been with us. So we had a bit of an accident. There was a ladder that fell onto his fish tank, completely smashing it. He flew across the kitchen floor at one of our old houses and was on the floor for a solid 30 seconds, just flapping around, poor little thing. And the only bucket that we could find was the one that we put the bleach in, and we rinsed it out as quick as we could, filled it up, and he survived. I don't know how he survived that. I think it gave him mutant powers, because he's just a humble old goldfish, and he's now 9 years old. He would often not get fed by Aaron's little brother, so we rescued him. So he should have starved. He's a bit of a special fish, but he did give us a bit of a scare. Oh, I was very excited to see using that end of that star enamel dot sticker sheet. He did give us a bit of a scare this week, which is why I took a photo of him and started floating a little bit. But then, I don't know, maybe he just had a bit of a gas in his tummy and was just floating. But then he was back to normal a couple of days later. So Leo reigns on. He's going to be with us for a while, I think. So here is my double page. I will do a double page layout over here on Patreon that is 2 actual layouts together, but I'm slowly stepping into double pages by doing this kind of sneaky layout PL page, because they do coordinate together in the album, I think. So now we're on to the junk journal, and I'm sorry if in the background you can hear this crazy whirring noise. My MacBook has decided it's turning into an alien spaceship that sounds like it's about to lift off into space. So I'm trying to hold my computer at an awkward angle so that it doesn't make the strange noise. So here in my junk journal, I have been working really hard to finish it off. I'm trying so hard, because I have another one that's ready to ready to go, and I want to start using that, but I have to finish this one first. And so I think I have maybe 9 pages left. And so I filmed a video, which I don't think is up yet, but it will be up this month on Patreon, where I did 9 pages in my junk journal, an epic process video with them all together. So look forward to that one coming soon. But I wanted to just do a couple of pages today using some of the art journal printable bits and bobs. So this right hand side is actually a half of an A5 envelope. I think, no, it's bigger than that. I don't know what size envelope it is. It's one of those C, they have a number. But I just chopped the flappy bit off it, just because the flappy bit was annoying me, and it was one of those peel and stick ones, and I thought, knowing my luck, the peely bit will accidentally come off, and then it will be stuck to somewhere, and it won't be a good time. So I just stuck that You Got This little art journal piece to the left hand side, and then I wanted to kind of cover up this white because it was just very, very bright white, and I felt like I needed to kind of coordinate the color a little bit with this left hand side. So I grabbed some, I think it's Funky Fuchsia, but no, is it Funky Fuchsia? Yeah, I think it is, from the Dilutions Paints range, and then I just dried that off camera. And now it's time to use this amazing gold paint that I think Aaron got it for me for Valentine's Day maybe 2 years ago, or a year ago. No, I think it was 2 years ago, and it is beautiful. I'll show you the bottle in a moment, but I think the brand is Luminaire, I believe. I'm just using a star stencil from Tim Holtz just to stencil them on with a makeup sponge. The trick is to not have too much paint on your sponge. I always dab, so you can see I'm dabbing into the lid, and then you can't see, but off camera I've just got a piece of cardstock that I'm dabbing onto just to make sure it's not too clunky, the paint, that it's just kind of smoothed out a bit. And that's the trick as to how I try to get sharp edges on my stencil. I try. I can't always guarantee it. Here I sped this up about 10 times fast because it took me a while to outline all of these stars, and I didn't think you needed to see 5 minutes of me doing so. But I just used my white Uniball Signo Broad gel pen, and I really wanted to put this quote here, so I'm just trying to work out which stars will be covered and avoid doing them, just to avoid doing them. And then I'm going to stick that down. My ATG ran out of tape halfway through filming this process video, and I didn't feel like fighting with it to fill it up again, so that's why I'm just using some double-sided tape. I also feel like sometimes the double-sided tape sticks things a little firmer. I think because it is a bit wider, and also with the ATG, I buy some knockoff tape. I don't buy the official Scotch one because, boy oh boy, it's about $17 for 2 rolls in Australia, and I go through that stuff like hotcakes. And so I buy, I think it's from, is it Tape Jungle? I think it's a website called Tape Jungle, possibly, that sells them. I think you get something ridiculous like 200 rolls, and I usually split it so that I don't have 200 rolls of tape because I don't need quite that many. So this next one, I wanted to use this Art Mad, and then I was tossing up with that one. I was thinking of trimming off the side, but I decided to go with Art Mad, and I felt like it needed some texture around the outside of the print. So first thing I do is I grabbed a old circle stencil from my stash, and I'm just using my black pen to really messily doodly sketch around these circles, and it doesn't give that much. A lot of them covered. I don't know why I did the ones in the middle, but I did. I think I was just in autopilot in stenciling them and tracing them, and I didn't think to myself that they'd be covered. It doesn't add a great deal because it is, of course, a bit of a busy background with those plants on that magazine page anyway. But it just gives it a little something, and I kind of wish that I had known that I was going to do some handwritten journaling around the outside of this page, but I didn't. So it's a bit hard to see some of the journaling, but that's okay because it's more so the look of it and not reading the exact every word. So then I had some of this beautiful pink vellum that a subscriber sent, and I absolutely love it. And it's the type of thing that I will hoard because I have no idea where I would find that in Australia. And so I decided to take the leap. It's time to use our stash peeps and get them into our journals and albums and books and things that we can actually flip through and appreciate rather than feel guilty for holding on to things. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes there'll be a piece of paper that I've loved for ages and it was my favorite piece of paper and I haven't used it in anything. But now when I look at it in my stash, instead of feeling like the happiness that I used to feel when I first got it, I feel a bit guilty because it's still there. I don't know, I feel like this is just me attaching emotions to material things, but I kind of feel like I've left it behind and I've abandoned it a bit and I get a bit guilty. So to avoid that, I'm sticking things in, sticking and plonking till my heart's content, and I would love for you to stick and plonk along with me. So here I'm adding a bit of tissue paper because, hey, when do I not add white tissue paper? Let's be real. And I'm just putting that around the outside, and then I have to add some tape to that as well. I was tempted for a little moment to maybe watercolour in those circles, but then I remembered the pen that I used, A, wasn't waterproof, B, you can't really see much of the circles anyway, C, the paper is magazine paper and it's not gessoed, it's not very thick, so the paint would just go straight through if I used watercolour. So I decided against that. And you'll see that I added the colour to this left hand side, which already had a few things already on it. I had apparently stuck a blue piece of note paper and a doily on there, and also some white modelling paste stenciling. I think I must have, I remember that. I did I think it was a YouTube video actually. It was a layout of my mum, my nan and I with a purpley watercolory background, and I'm pretty sure that's the stencil that I used, and I must have also put some into here. So then as I said, I'm obsessed with this Morgan Harper Nichols lady, and I wrote one of her other quotes around the outside of this page. I must add, I've said around the outside 3 times in this video, and every time I sing the Eminem song in my head, but I'm trying to have a bit of self-control because I can't sing all, you don't want me to sing all process video long. There's no opportunity to sing the Heidi Shine song today. So maybe if I accidentally say around the outside again, I can bust out just a little song for you guys. Oh, the video's almost finished. Well, here's the journaling around the outside. Oh, my voice kind of broke there. And then I was tempted to add, I don't know, something to this left-hand side, but then I took a moment and I wanted to embrace the space, embrace the white space, and also that doily is not smooth to write on, nor is texture paste through a stencil, and so I thought, embrace the white space and also save yourself from an impending disaster if you try to write over the top of any of those surfaces, Adele. So instead I stuck a little flower that I've had sitting around and rearranging from area to area in my craft room. Really trying to use up these miscellaneous ephemera pieces this year as well. Added some roller stamping because they were right next to me. And then this page is done. So I hope you enjoyed this epic 4-part process video over here. If you're one of my new patrons, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I've had quite a few at the start of January, which is really nice to see. And I just want to wish you guys all a happy new January start to a new year, and kind of I urge you to, if there's a creative goal that you've always wanted to try, or it's been in the back of your head, or you've bought the supplies for it but never started, just start. Just have a go, or step outside your comfort zone. Kind of if you're feeling a bit stale and you're creating, kind of do something to shuffle it up a bit. You can see here I use the rainbows, which is definitely shuffling it up a little bit for me, and you might be surprised as to how much it ignites your creativeness again. All right guys, enough rambling. I gotta go. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.